What's up, guys? Sean here from Srkcycles, and this is it's not really, it's kind of Motostories, not really Motostories. It's not really a specific story that I have. I just want to tell you guys how to, I just saw a cop pass by, that's why I came up with this idea, how to get pulled over by the cops while you're riding a motorcycle. Now, my grandfather was captain of the state police, and I can assure you, they gave his family, his kids, and his grandkids zero tolerance for doing anything illegal. They would go out of their way to pull over his kids. My grandfather, when my dad was a kid, my grandfather told him, he's like, don't give my kids any leeway with anything. And that's, a lot of times, that's how it is. But I've been pulled over many times. What a lot of people don't get is that 99.9% of the time, no one's out to get you. And listen, I'm not getting into the whole black-white thing, all right? I'm a white guy. But you know what? When I'm riding a bike, or when you're riding a bike, when you got full gear on, and you got a full face helmet, and there's not an inch of skin showing, and you got a tinted visor, hey, we're all the same color at that point in time. And for most of the times, that color is, bam, going too fast on a motorcycle. That color is speed. But side note, these people, police officers, are regular people. They just got a job like you and me. Their job is to uphold the law. So when they see someone speeding, hey, their job is to pull you over. That's just life. If you're with like 20 people speeding and they pull one person over, they couldn't pull everybody over. I've been in that situation. That's just life. You can't pull everyone over. So you got the one guy. Good. That sucks it was you, you know. But they're regular people. And if you treat them like regular people, they're going to treat you like regular people. Most likely his day didn't start bad. But maybe it did. But if he comes up to your car or comes up to your bike and asks you a question, you're like, what the F do you want? You know, and you're mean to him. Hey, that's his, you just opened up his, now he's on the offense. You know? Like now he's like, whoa, what's going on here? And these guys, they risk their lives. There's a reason they carry guns. Because some people want to hurt them. There are bad people out there. They don't know if you're a bad guy or a good guy. So why don't you show them you're a good guy by being nice to them? Hey, officer, you got me speeding? You know, hey, I was speeding. I'm sorry. I was, you know, you got me. 160 in a 35. Shouldn't have been doing it. You know, like, you don't have to get mad at them. And if they give you a ticket, hey, they give you a ticket. They got you. That's life. I'm sure you sped a million other times and didn't get busted. They got you. So just be polite. Have your information out for them. One time I was pulled over. I was working for a car dealership, and we put car dealer tags on the cars. And every once in a while, you forget to put a tag on the car, and you get home and you realize, oh, I don't have a tag on my car. But you made it without getting pulled over. Well, I'm driving this like 98 Blazer with rims on it, and it just looked like a suspicious vehicle. And I get pulled over. And the police officer walks up and he's like, you know, he says I don't have a tag on it. It looks like a stolen car. I know that. He knows that. Who are we kidding, you know? So he comes up and he's like, hey, you don't have tags on your car. And I'm like, oh, no, are you serious? I'm like, okay, two things either happen. One, I work at a dealership. That's background. I work at a dealership. Either one, I didn't put one on there when I left. 2, it fell off. 3, someone took it. 3 things that are happening. And he's like, all right, let me call this in, blah, blah, blah. There's no connection. There's no way to connect that car to me. The only possible solution he has is to connect me to the dealership to prove that my story's right. So we jumped on the phone. We called my boss. My boss was like, yes. I had someone come out and bring me a dealer tag. I drove away. It was a kind of a crazy situation, but if I was acting all crazy and, why you pulling me over, man? You know what I mean? Hey, I was driving a car with no tags on it. That looks shady. There was another time where I bought a car. I bought a 1993 Ford Festiva. And I used to buy cars from Pennsylvania and then take them down to Georgia because you didn't need an inspection down there. So I'd buy cars that couldn't get inspected because they weren't safe, and I'd drive them down to Georgia. And so I buy this car from this guy who's like, this guy was a hippie. Dreads, you know what I mean? The whole deal. I buy this car from this guy, and then on the way home from buying this car, I got pulled over. And you know, I don't know why. And the police officer's like, can I inspect your vehicle? Now, this was a long time ago. This is a couple years ago. I don't know if I would have done the same thing now, but the officer was like, can I inspect your vehicle? And I was like, yeah, sure. But I was like, but just so you know, I just bought this vehicle. I just bought it from a guy who was definitely a hippie. He looked like a hippie. And at the time, I'm also going to a Bible college, you know? So I probably made the mistake of letting him look at the car. Because I don't know if someone left something in there. But I was nice. He looked in there. But the biggest thing was I was nice to the guy. He was a cool guy. I have not... Actually, I've only had one instance with a police officer where I was like, that guy's a jerk. Let me tell you about that story. So, I'm driving to work. I work for a company that built bicycles for Walmart. So it was a subcontractor deal. You'd go to Walmart and you would put these bicycles together, and you got paid per bike. So I could put like 30 bikes together one night, and then I got paid per bike, and then I go to all these different Walmarts. Well, I was working at a Walmart really close to my house. I'm driving my truck. Just so happens a little S10, the exhaust fell off. It's a piece of junk truck. The exhaust fell off. I work 2 miles away from where I lived. I'm driving to work. My thing sounds like an airplane. An officer pulls me over. He's like, listen, your car is way too loud. There's something wrong with it. Here's a citation. You know, citation's a ticket. You got to get this fixed ASAP. I'm like, okay, I'm driving to work. I'll get it fixed as soon as I can. I go to work. I'm about to leave at like 11 o'clock at night. I'm about to leave, and I see a police officer kind of driving around the parking lot. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? I still had the ticket. I still had the ticket in my hand for when I got pulled over. So I get in my car. I don't see the police officer. It was a different police officer. I don't see him anymore. I get in my car. I go to drive home. And a police officer, sure enough, pulls me over. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, listen, I just got pulled over on the way to work. Here is my ticket. He looks at it. He's like, I don't care. You cannot be... There's something wrong with this car. You cannot be driving this car on the road. I'm like, what was I supposed to do? I got pulled over on the way to work. Now I'm leaving work. I'm like, okay, I'm going home. He's like, no, park it. Park the car. Now, I think at this point, it's like 11 o'clock at night. No, 12 o'clock at night. He's like, park the car. You're not driving this home. And I'm like, you're kidding me. How am I supposed to get home? My cell phone's dead. I can't call. It's 12 o'clock. Who am I gonna call? Ghostbusters. My cell phone's dead. It was nice outside. It was summertime. That was cool. And the officer makes me park the car. He's like, if you drive this thing home, you're gonna go to jail. And then he sits he parks right across the street from me and just watches me. He could have at least drove me home. And so I had to walk home. I had to walk like 2 miles home. It was just so dumb. And then I had to get the car towed. The guy was just total jerk. Hey, you know what? Nothing I could do about it. But that's life. Alright guys, that's Moto Stories. We'll see you guys later. Subscribe.